That's the best way for me to describe it. So treat it with respect, reward them with enthusiasm, reward them with grit, reward them with honesty. Even if the person is not a good person, as long as the person has decided to be your gatekeeper by ushering you into a space that you've never been in before, treat it with respect and give them honesty. Thank you, Chisholm. I really like that part. George.
Yeah, I think that people have been very valuable. Like just listening to my story from the friend that introduced me to the company that was doing the enterprise telephoning stuff, to getting into L5, and even you, and just so it's just been there, and then also meeting like the CEO at L5. I remember then like he would travel, and when he's coming back, he would buy me books to read, and then on weekends we would meet to talk about them. I still have a scaling, lean, etc. Like we'll be solving the exercises, and that's something else for you to also consider at this stage of your career. You probably want to emphasize learning over earning, because eventually that is what you are going to monetize. And the truth is that there's always a lot of money to be made. But you want to, but there's something really tricky in the way Imoedemhe has described it. You can single out these mentors, try to get close to them. But I said to people that there's a thin line between when you start to get into like all that politics and whatever stuff, and when this is actually what you are pushing on. You also, hold a responsibility and obligation to your mentors. One is that they expect you to be a diligent person. If you have any other intent, then it becomes manipulative. If you are trying to, get close to someone because I think that tomorrow I want you to refer me, in all the places where I've said now, I didn't, act because I never thought that I was going to be introduced to, to drive a tech park project. There's nothing like that in the continent. As at the time when I, resigned last year, December, the vice president came for the groundbreaking of that project. My boss was in the US. He didn't even come. It was just me. And like Chinwe said, it was a new experience for me. Like you get on a jet with the governor, and you get to see what really happens, in the inner circles of these places. But that's because someone else trusted me. But when I was working with him, I didn't think that day was going to come. It wasn't for that day. And whatever I did there last year, it's also not because I think next year is going to refer me for something else, but he knows me and he understands my competence, and he will just, come out to play. What I also realize is, and what I tell young people, I understand that most people who are here are not necessarily, trying to seek jobs, but trying to transition careers. But what I tell people who are looking for jobs, I say that if anyone says to you in Nigeria today that there are no jobs, that person doesn't know enough to be counseling you. There are a ton of jobs. Like I can't find the people that I'm trying to hire. Between January and now, in my team alone, product and engineering, maybe I've hired close to like 22 people. And there were times when I really just felt like, what, it's taking too long. I'm just going to compromise. This is not the best guy, but I'll take it. The problem is that there's a mismatch between the roles and the skill set of the people who are applying. That's just where the problem is. So if you can emphasize learning as a way to augment for whatever shortfall you think you have, you would find yourself in a place where you become highly sought after. To be honest, like we used to read in books. I remember when we were in uni, we read about people who used to work for like oil and gas companies, and they would resign and say, because I needed to spend time with my family. And we thought, man, like these guys, village people must be at work. Like what the hell? Like we will work till we die. What family? Like family will understand. But we are now getting there. I was talking to someone recently and I said, for me, retirement is 40. And I'm just going to retire to a country home somewhere. I'll probably be going into a public school to teach like government and history or maths. And just, you get to that place where, you really don't, it just doesn't really move you anymore. Like, for example, if I switch jobs now, it's not because they're going to pay me more, really. I don't move for that anymore. I move for, considering the impact. I joined Bamboo because I'm very close to the founder as well. I understand the vision, and I thought that I could help contribute. And I'm an advocate for, not too young to build $1 billion business. There's the not too young to run. But I make the argument that before we get into the not too young to run, we should have young people in their 20s, 30s building like $1 billion businesses, because you need affluence, to step into that terrain. So when we start to talk and we tell them we want to change, you need to have leverage. That's how I think about it. And young people are starting to do that in the last maybe 1 year or 24 months thereabout. There are lots of young Nigerians, between like 25 and 30 years that I know that are now like multi-millionaires in like hundreds of millions, but we're going to keep pushing it by building value. So that's how I now, take my decision. So when I join a company, I'm like, what value can I help them build? And how does it contribute to like the greater good and the grand goal of really, positioning our youths in a place where we can start to have a voice? If not, you would never beg for a change and say, please, you killed us at toll gates. The economy has been bad, so please, we need a change. That's not what's going to happen. We are going to show up with a lot of money as well. And when they speak, we'll speak, right? And when they lobby, we'll lobby. That's what's going to happen. And we are getting there really. So emphasize learning over earning at this, point. Wherever you find yourself that you are able to learn, you should prioritize it. Don't be scared, don't hold back. When you go back home, don't try to be a regular employee. Don't work for salary. I tell people, I say, when I sit down to do my job, I don't remember how much I'm paid. I break my back a lot. You would think that maybe there's a debt that I'm trying to repay to the company with how I work. And when it's time to leave, I also leave. Although it's not even this, my boss that I've said now that is a great guy. When I left again, the Edo Tech Park, he called me, was like, this is very offensive. You always do this, George. You shouldn't always do this. Or Chime was saying just now that I left them. I think I just joined Trade Depot to solve operation issues. And it was less than 90 days I had to leave again. So that's the little advice I have for you. And thank you so much, Chinwe, again, for the opportunity.
You did not tell me that I said it was very offensive. Okay, that's a different conversation. But yes, thank you guys so much. I don't know, this one I took stuff from it personally as a person, maybe because I'm a bit connected to some of the rules here. But I learned several things here. These are things that you will know, but when it's said differently and put into a different context, you see a different picture, a bigger picture. Learning over earning, that's a thing that I completely believe in. But as George said, that something that aligned is that these two people here are people who have always been like that, are people who have always chosen excellence. I remember when I actually first met Chisubim, we were doing volunteer work and we would do it like we were being paid. And the kind of results that we were delivering at that time and the kind of results that companies now that are paying people salary have still not delivered on, if you think about it in the way it was. So it kind of makes me realize that it's a mindset, it's also a habit, it's also a discipline. It's easy for us to say it here now. After saying it, everybody just go home and sit down. But you actually have to start thinking about, what does that mean to you? What does learning over earning mean to you? What does excellence mean to you? What does you doing the work actually mean to you? There are many things that these two people here have said that are in alignment with everything we've been talking about, we've been teaching, we've been trying to show. Even just being aligning the fact that what she loves about buildings is also what she loves about processes. You have to be extremely self-aware to be able to make that connection. You need to know what your values are. You need to know, where do you play? What's like, we say it like a joke. They wake you up at 2 a.m. and they say, we need to fix this. How will your mind go? Even when she was talking about that, her boss, my head was like, I would like to meet that guy. Just because it's you get into a place where you hear a problem and your mind is already working out the solution in your own space. You don't have to look at it from Chisubem's angle or George's angle, but in your own space, what are you owning? What process are you owning? What impact are you delivering? What change are you making? What leverage do you have? Because really, really, when George said it, I said, tell them. It's not by all these things that we are saying. It's really, when they talk, how are you talking? Are you talking from the back or on social media? How are you really talking? If they say, okay, forget social media, let all of us come out to the street, what are you coming with? Are you going to come with excuses? Or are you going to come with the stuff that you've delivered? Who is speaking for you? Who is consciously thinking about, how do I get Dotun into this room? How do I get Tola into this room? Esther, I need to. And the reason they will do that is because they know the part that George did not say, which I will say here, and I believe is the same thing with Chisubem's former boss, is that gatekeepers also need people that they can trust. For gatekeepers, gifted hands soon become burden bearers. So what that means is that if they put in the time and the effort to train you, to mentor you, to show you the ropes, they most likely will trust you over other people. So even if it does not concern you, even if you don't know anything about it, when they called him to go and do real estate, he did not know anything about it. And I remember we had that conversation at that time too. Is it not? Baba, go first. We will find something there. And because that trust means that you will enter the door where things are happening. Even if you don't know anything, you will find something that you know that you hold on to till other things start to come up. So it really will not be at that point about, what do I know? What experience do I have? Is can they trust you? And the gatekeepers only trust people that deliver. They only trust excellence. They trust workmanship. It's trust service. You cannot do hard guy, or senior man. When you see the person that's senior, you bend down. Even if the person is older than you, even if you're older than the person, if the person has something that you need in terms of learning, experience, a system that works, the only way you can get it is to leverage of that relationship. And you cannot disrespect that relationship, no matter what the stakes are. One thing that is aligning across the different people we've spoken to or we've listened to is communication, stakeholder management. But more than that, in this part, I think we can also leverage doing the work, excellence, and powerful relationships, because the two things that define the people here have been how they leveraged powerful relationships into being where they were. But of course, they didn't just sit down and wait for things to happen to them. You can also see in that whole equation, what they put in and what they also got out of it. Someone else could have been in Imoedemhe's shoe and she will still be a virtual assistant now. So you do have to make something of whatever it is you're doing. I don't want us to take more time than we've taken already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you all for coming. This has been most impactful. This has been extremely rewarding as well. Seeing you guys, hearing you guys inside, there's a part of my head that's saying, wow. But yes, I'm excited. I love everything about growth. Thank you both for coming. I hope we can call on you some other time. I hope our people can buzz you, because I know some people have already checked you out on LinkedIn and added you. Some of them will have questions. Some of them can ask questions for Africa. So please, when they come asking, please, if they're asking it in a way that is, just look at it as intensity of the thing that is doing them. And you can just show them how to ask it and when to ask it so that you can answer them. But will they ask you? Yes, they will. Will they reach out to you? Yes, they will. And I hope that when they say they are from TTT, you will respond. You will respond to them with warmth and friendliness. Nobody here is actually is an early starter. Everybody here is a mid-level person at some level who is trying to transition to tech from some area to another area. So they have stuff in them that they are still trying to figure out, where is this stuff? Where can this stuff play? Where can I put this? But when I said, and this is for you, George, that we can find people for you. We can find we cannot collect Imoedemhe now, but we can find some mini Imoedemhes from inside this community that can come and work with you. I was not lying. Yes, they may need some work, but we will be having that conversation. Don't worry. Thank you guys so much. Do you have any last words for our people?
I'm going to let Imoedemhe go first.
Thank you, George. I guess the only thing I'd say is that I really hope you take action steps from everything that we're learning today, because a lot of the information that you have access to, because a lot of the information that you have access to now are things that can really expedite your progress. So what you want to do is to be able to move quickly. You really don't want to make the same mistakes and and experience the same delays that other people may be experiencing. So now that you're on this platform, please take advantage of everything. Like the best thing I do after sessions like this is I do like a little debrief with myself. So I sit down, I look over my notes and I tell myself, okay, George said this, Chinwe said this, Imoedemhe said that, and this is how I'm going to apply this over the next couple weeks, over the next couple months. If you don't task yourself, if you don't have any action steps that you can track or measure, it's all just going to float around for a little while and then it will just float away because you don't have any like implementation plan. Okay, so please like take your notes, take your exercises, and then tell yourself, okay, this is what I'm going to change, this is what I'm going to do better, because if not, there's only so much, I guess, hearing can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Imoedemhe. I love that. George?
Yeah, of course, there's hardly anything to add to what Imoedemhe said in terms of, like trying to action out a clear implementation plan for how you are going to draw on the knowledge from today's session and say, this is how I'm going to apply it. But something else that I also just see, being here in the session is that do not underestimate the value of, that could be created from what you have here. Some of you would potentially go on to become co-founders. And what I always say is that let us not treat tech the way we've treated oil. Tech, expertise is a resource by itself. We mismanage natural resources, oil, and everything else really as a country because we do not refine, we don't process, we just take it as raw as it is and we want to sell. So we have people today who are PMs, who are software engineers, and they don't refine in code. They just take the skill, hand it to some company in the West who pays them like maybe $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, and it's good enough. But refining tech skills is really when you can come together and build value. So think about the Facebook. Zuckerberg could have gone on to work for Google, and he would be able to better himself. But where you can be able to have like an exponential effect is where you can, come together, that think about there are a ton of challenges in our clients, and say, okay, how are we going to solve them? Because the one thing that tech does is that it gives you some sort of like a God mindset. I'm a very pious person, but I tell you what I know, where, there's a place where others are stuck in thinking about a solution. You go beyond that. I used to have a sound system in my house that, when people came in or people come into the house and then they needed to like connect, I would have to disconnect my Bluetooth and then they will connect. They're like, oh, there's a music I like to play. Okay, disconnect, connect. So one time I just wrote like a small telnet server that I could turn on. And when you come to my house, I would give you a link. And on that link, you can pause play. So even remotely, like where you are now, you could be able to pause play, like the music, and then you can load in like new songs and it will just queue and play. If I didn't have like that tech experience and expertise, I would be stuck at people have to disconnect and connect. You understand, right? So you go further. So people are stuck at X in thinking about a solution, but you see other realms that are impossible to them. So do not disregard that at all. And I think it's important that you guys, think as much as possible, build that relationship. It might also not be, venture building. It could even be like the big job that you're thinking about. It could be Esther introducing Emanuela eventually to Microsoft, whatever stuff. But I think that is also a very valuable component that you cannot neglect here. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Really nice talking to you, Chinwe, and also for seeing your face again. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah, so we've not done a video call in a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you joining. I hope you guys have enjoyed them. Does anybody have anything to say, to ask, to contribute to George and Chisobim? Anybody? Emanuela, Esther? Esther is holding her mouth.
Why do you always call my name for?
Because we know the class talkative now, in a good way, of course.
Okay, so thank you so much, Chizobim and George. Funny enough, I also know Chizobim. Maybe she might have forgotten me by now. We are Isaac together. Okay, so I would say for me, I would like to reiterate what Mole said. If I find myself in a room, then I belong to the room. For me, tech was kind of intimidating. I tried to learn to code. I was frustrated out of it. And I was just like, you know what, I think I'm not made for this tech. But then after discussing with Benedicta, I've actually been doing tech. But I never knew I was doing tech, just similar with Chizobim. So I know a couple of us in this room too might be thinking, am I really in this tech? Someone has also, by the side, messaged me in the class, and we all are in this room. We all belong to this room, and we all will solve problems. And by the side as well, I was discussing with someone, both of us are having, some investment or co-founding discussion. And I was telling the person, I think with this conversation, we need to rethink this business model. It needs to solve real life problem. Yeah, I'm very passionate about people. The way I do HR is different from the way another person do HR. Some business owners at first struggle with my way of thinking, but when they start seeing the people result as well, they now believe that's I should run. I think that yes, I can bring that also to tech, either as a business owner or as an employee, or even build a solution to tackle some of the people problem we have in Africa, because I know our problem is not just peculiar in Nigeria. I've discussed with my colleagues in Ghana and Kenya. We all as employees or as business owners have similar kind of challenges or complaints we are ranting about, and it still boils down to this talent. I think people are not, they are like square pegs in a round hole. So yeah, we cannot just keep talking about this problem. We need to solve this problem. And so something is coming out very soon. Thank you.
You shouldn't be building a bamboo competitor though, Emanuela.
I almost brought bamboo to my organization. I also trade on your app, so don't worry. We will
Yeah,
just
you should
collaborate.
bring us. And
The
if you have an
market,
idea that has to do with investing, we should be working together.
exactly.
While I can share ideas with you on what other platforms. So, with the continuous adoption of remote work, what we see now mostly is people taking on like multiple jobs, like actual 9 to
Exactly.
5 in different places.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I recently was thinking about a platform that you as an HRO person can go and sign up your organization. And every time that you have a new hire, you can go there, put their profile and BVN, and it will tell you if it's active for any
Please
other
accept my
organization.
LinkedIn request already.
So do that and leave investing for Bamboo. All right, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Chisobem.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, sure.
Thank you all so
Bye,
much
guys.
for joining today. And bye, Chisobem. Thank you all so much for joining. I know that this was useful. I hope that this has helped you rethink certain things that you've been doing. I know that for some other people it has. And for some people that are still confused, don't worry, we are here. We'll start to discuss your personalized roadmap this week so you can get a sense of what it is for you as well. Have a great week. We will send the exercises into the different groups between today and tomorrow. Thank you, guys. I did not see all your faces till the end, but thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much, Chinwe and Benedicta.